I'm Kevin Casey. I'm a professional mixed martial arts fighter. And right now what I'm about to do is issue a warning out to all other competitors.
I like my money. I'm kind of pro-gun.
I don't want overs. I just expect them to happen.
Fatty's gonna fatty is real.
He is terrible!
I'm only go quick because I don't give a fuck about anything that's going to happen on Saturday.
Welcome to this week's edition of the MMA Analysis. We back. We did it, mama. We back. Vitor's back, and we back. It's been like a month, almost a month to the day since we actually did a preview podcast, so it feels good. Obviously Lance isn't here, so that's why we don't have him bitching, and we were actually able to get the crew together and do a show. So starting off, I'm your host, Brad Taschuk. Co-host, as always, Jay Primetown. Jay, how's it going?
I actually thought we were shutting down our doors.
No, that's going to be the UFC once this WME thing keeps going for a while longer.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's fun just watching guys walk out the door and see all young guys too. Well, not all young guys, but mostly young guys. Guys that are going to be a big deal in a couple years, or even are a big deal already. Just leaving. Makes sense.
Or losing on last week's card.
Yeah. Well, those were just some interesting. Well, the one I don't think anybody saw coming, but we'll get to the so-called co-main event. But yeah, I can't believe I was at a UFC pay-per-view where David Tamer was in the co-main event.
And victorious.
Brad, what did you expect? You know who was co-headlining the card. Yeah. You knew that when you were going there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I never had any illusions that fight was happening. But I figured they'd at least put Overeem and Hunt as the co-main event.
Yeah, that would be smart money. They hate money, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, well, what are you going to do? Anyways, you heard his voice a little bit there. New Sean, what's happening?
I'm doing well. I want to say sorry to our handful of fans. It's all Lance Fishel's fault, so you can tweet him and blame him. It's 100% his fault.
Just report him and block him on Twitter.
Yeah, flog him if you have to.
And finally, the newest addition to the show, Wesley Colvin. Wes, NASCAR, basketball, it's your time, baby.
Oh man, I mean, as long as Harvey can quit boning me in my ass,
opening up
over and
old
over.
wounds, Brad.
You and me both, Wes. Jesus Christ.
Man, there's not been one guy in the past 3 years that I've bet on that's completely dominated races and had a race car nobody can touch and literally finds a way to lose it.
Dude led 90% of the laps in the race.
He's done it 9 times in the past 2 years. Led 90% of the laps in a race and not won. 9 times, and I've probably been on him every single time too. But yeah, man, before we start the show, gotta say that I got my tickets to see maybe one of the greatest fighters of a generation, a guy that just keeps it completely flowy. And me and a guy that never shows up on this podcast will actually be cage side to see his flowness, the flow ball, live in Nashville. So I cannot wait to do that, man. Y'all should be really, really jealous. Brad, Vegas for 209, title fights and shit. You got nothing on seeing the flow ball in person.
I don't know, man.
You better hope Lance actually shows up.
I was gonna say, if Lance doesn't show up to the card, just give me a call. I'll hop on down. I'll bust a flow bob or two out during the fight. Get that on the broadcast.
little Magni Madoff made it last time. This was pretty fucking cool.
All right. So, kicking it off, UFC 209. As mentioned, I was down there live for it, so that was fun. Had a good time with our buddy Dougie, California MMA, and some other folks down in Vegas. So it was enjoyable. enjoyable, even with everybody's least favorite Russian falling off the card. I know Jay really appreciated that part of it.
Jay, how bad was that? How bad did that tweet Lance sent you? Did that just like cut right through you? Did that hurt like really bad?
Kind of expected it.
You were upset for a little bit. You were upset.
I wasn't gonna call it upset. I'd call it par for the course. I'm pretty difficult to offend. So,
it wasn't like.
I expected a little heat. I got a few work emails from people. They're like, "I just heard the news. How upset are you?" Like, is this true? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting hit from all sides. My cousins are making fun of me. It's
well, just as bad, maybe worse, is our boy on another podcast, Paul Shaughnessy, that had everybody on Twitter sending trains falling off tracks. So, that might have been a little bit worse, Jay. So y'all kind of both got it.
We got our own Habib on our podcast. So
yeah, that's very true. Very true. Hey, but at least our Habib, we know he's not showing up. He doesn't make there's no illusions that he's showing up. He's not pretending.
He's not pulling out last minute.
Yeah. He doesn't like talking. Actually, yeah. Who am I kidding? He likes talking to himself on Sundays, that's for sure.
There you go. So we're going to kick it off. UFC 209 main event. Awful fight. Before we actually get to the main event, I have a question for you guys. What's worse? The people who think that this fight was good or entertaining, or the people who think that Wonder Bread deserved to win based on the first 2 rounds?
They're both terrible. Is there? Yeah. You gotta clean up your timeline on Twitter, Brad, because I didn't see anybody defending this fight. This fight was absolute trash.
I got a third option. What about the people who thought that it was a robbery, or they just made up the scorecards wrong when they said first round or first judge for Woodley. second judge draw. And then you say it's a majority decision. And then when it doesn't come up for Thompson, you're shocked.
It's confusing, Jay.
That means Thompson wasn't winning on the third scorecard. Otherwise, it would have been a straight draw. I mean, does anyone know how this works?
It's math, Jay. It's hard.
And what's up with Brad? What is up with Buffer?
I have no idea. It's not difficult.
Can we get Joe?
All you do is you read the draw card, you read both scorecards since they were the same, and then you announce that it was a majority decision for the winner.
Why does he got to say it's a majority draw up front? Why can't he just say the first judge had this score, the second judge had this score, the third judge had this score, and then announce the result? Why does he have to tease you the result?
That's just his style.
He doesn't know how to do it. He does not know how to do it.
He's got to be next guy fired, because he's probably making a decent amount of money, and
fuck yeah, I hope
he doesn't seem to be worth it.
Apparently, I don't know. People know him though. I mean, he's a known commodity.
He makes a lot of money.
Is anybody tuning in for Bruce Buffer?
No, but he's part of the show. This goes back to, we were talking about before we went live. It was about the UFC brand and its importance to the UFC and I guess to the ownership. Buffer represents the brand. As long as the brand is more important than the fighters, people like Buffer are going to continue to get paid.
And I've been to quite a few UFCs, and I don't think I've heard less of a reaction for the whole, it's time and all that bullshit that he does that takes 17 minutes before he actually announces the fighters than I heard this past weekend.
Brad, do you remember just even 5 years ago when the pay-per-view came on and Buffer did that first time, I'd literally stand up in my living room and be fucking hype, It's just not the same anymore. It is not the same thing.
No.
I'll tell you what though, I mean, I know it's a small sample, but it's amazing. If you're down there near the floor, how many people want to take pictures with these dudes? Whether it's a referee like Herb Dean.
Herb, yeah. Mm-hmm.
People are This guy doesn't even fucking work for the UFC. He's a fucking referee.
Belfort has a line of people every time I've been.
A line, totally.
Yep.
Totally.
Speaking of pictures, do you guys see with the massive former bantamweight champion Dominic Cruz? He's a giant, man.
He's a fucking giant, man.
He's a giant.
He's got to be like 6'6", 6'7", Brad.
He's like the Californian Kristaps Porzingis, man.
Fucking Anik is Nate Diaz weight. God damn.
Good stuff. I should have got in the Mighty Mouse picture with Dougie and Jess. That one would have been more flattering to me, size wise.
Yeah, probably would have been. I mean, you got to be bigger than Dodson, right?
Yeah, they actually met Dodson too, but they took a picture. I took a picture of them with Mighty Mouse. Didn't hop in one myself, but yeah, he's a small dude.
He's small.
You're bigger, I assume.
I heard Mighty Mouse is packing a pretty good hog though. So
well, Dodson certainly is.
Yeah, I think Hoganu has a Mighty Mouse size hog though.
Yeah, he's got a Mighty Mouse literally hanging between his legs.
He's got Mighty Mouse hanging between them.
Jesus Christ!
All right, you can tell we're back. We're back, full force. All right, 209 main event. Tyron Woodley, Stephen Thompson. Jay, how'd you score it?
You know what? I don't even score these some of these fights. I can't. This fight is the reason why I'm starting to really hate the 10-point must system, because there is such differentiation between the 2 rounds that Woodley clearly won and then the other 3 rounds in the fight, which were basically nothing happened. I think Stephen Thompson landed 1 head kick in round 4, and I was like, okay, maybe that was decent. But other than that, it was a whole lot of nothing. And let's put it this way. If you judge that fight by pride rules, just like the first fight, Thompson loses in a runaway. Woodley dominated, in the terms of a full-scale fight. So to grade these rounds evenly and to suggest that they're equal because you have to do this 10-point thing is complete nonsense.
Fair enough. Nushan, what'd you think of the fight, and how'd you have it scored?
It was exactly what I expected it to be. Absolutely terrible. Yeah. And that's why I didn't want it. And everybody was like, oh, the first fight was awesome. I don't know if they were wasted that night. There was just so many people that thought the first fight was so good. Nobody did anything. Woodley took him down the first round, did a little bit of damage on the ground. Then there was absolutely nothing until the 4th round. Woodley landed a couple punches and had him on roller skates. And then the 5th round, he was tired. That was a terrible fight. And people are talking about it was fight of the year candidate. Like, come on.
I couldn't believe some of the people I saw say that was one of their fight of the year candidates.
Do you watch fights?
There's only one person associated with this podcast that I think liked the first fight, and he doesn't happen to be here tonight.
Yeah. So anyway, I was not really surprised that nothing happened. I mean, I figured maybe Woodley would do something, but as we know, he really doesn't do anything. Either he knocks you out like Robbie Lawler in a couple minutes, or he does a lot of doing nothing. I mean, I'm scoring those first 2 rounds 10-10s. I mean, the first round, both of them landed 5 and 6 significant strikes, if you want to call them significant. They were fucking nothing. Second round was 8-8. Like, I'm not giving anybody a win in those rounds. Woodley took him down in the 3rd. Thompson had a head kick in the 4th, and Woodley smashed him in the 5th. So Woodley's a winner, and we can forget about this fight from now on.
It's the best thing that could have happened was this wasn't a draw, and we can move on from it.
I'm a sick bastard, though. I wanted a draw just to fucking fuck people up.
They weren't going to do it again, though.
Who would want it again?
Yeah, that's very true. Wes, what was your scorecard here?
Man, as a guy that always scores like, cage control and a guy coming forward in like really close rounds, even I had to say fuck Wonder Boy in this fight. Like, he literally did absolutely nothing. I can almost understand Woodley not doing as much because he is a little more of a counterpuncher, and Wonder Boy is long and that's his game. But man, for a guy that got another shot at the title and is fighting the guy that's got the belt around his waist, I mean, that's just one of the worst. That's one of the worst title fights ever in the history of the UFC. It's right up there. It's got to be in a handful of the worst title fights ever. But I mean, I had to give it, to Woodley. I didn't score the third at 10-8. I guess like new scoring criteria, or the fifth, my bad. Under new scoring criteria, you have to score the third at 10-8. Like the third or the fifth is not equal to any of those other 4 rounds whatsoever. I mean, you could even say 10-7. That's just Woodley dropping him and doing what he did in the last minute of the fight. And like Jay said, I mean, under Pride rules, I mean, Woodley wins both of those fights, no problem. I'm also with Jay too, like the scoring system is just, it's so fucked. It was meant for a fight that went over 12 to 15 rounds, boxing, not MMA. I heard somebody or read somebody saying that it should be like a 15 or 25 minute fight. If neither finishes, it's a draw. I can almost agree with that. It almost make it better. It's just nobody wants a draw anymore. Everybody needs a winner in MMA anymore, and just sometimes neither guy really deserves to win. I think you almost had that here, but you got to give it to Woodley for what he did in the last couple of minutes. But man, what a horrible fight. Never put those two together again. You got to find somebody for Woodley that's gonna come at him. I don't know. It just that was really
I know
bad.
a guy that'll either take Woodley down and submit him or probably get knocked out.
The guy who should have been fighting on
Just
Saturday.
saying. But yeah, for me, being live at the fight, it was an experience because there was 10 minutes where nothing happened. So I was like, all right, it's 2020 after those 2 rounds. Or if you have to score, if you're one of those people where you have to think, you have to score 10-9s, you don't understand the concept that a 10-10 can actually exist, then just split them. 2 rounds, nothing happened, 1 to each guy, turn it into a 3-round fight. Like, I don't understand how you can do anything different in those situations than say nothing happened, it's 2020, or nothing happened, gonna split the rounds and turn it into a 3-round fight and let them decide it in the last 3. And then Woodley won 2 of the last 3. And I didn't score the fifth 10-8 just because new criteria and old criteria and whatever the fuck, but nothing happened for 4 minutes and 30 seconds. So I scored that 10-9. I scored the third 10-9 for Woodley, and honestly, I guess the head kick that Thompson landed showed up a whole lot better on TV than live, because live it didn't look like anything. So it didn't stun Woodley, it didn't move him, it looked like he got his hands up. So I scored that one a 10-10 as well. So 50-48 Woodley. Maybe 49-48 if you do give Thompson the 4th round.
That's got to be the lowest number of strikes ever landed combined in a 5-round fight.
How much was it?
I think it was like 50-some, like significant anyway.
Oh,
it was 50. It was 52,
terrible.
50, and 53.
Oh, it's awful. That's one. Yeah. That's one a minute per guy, basically. It's fucking pathetic.
Fun stuff. Fun stuff. Anyways, let's get to the rest of the card, which was actually pretty damn fun. We'll kick it off. UFC Fight Pass prelims. Actually, we'll go through all the prelims because I know there's a couple that we're going to want to hit on here. But starting off, UFC Fight Pass, Bantamweight division, Albert Morales defeats Andre Supkantai. Decision, 29-28, 28-29, 29-28. Supkantai was actually at the bar after the fight, and we were like, is that him? And my wife heard me saying Supkan, so she was like, do you want me to like go up to him and ask him, like, are you Supkan? So obviously she's not a podcast listener. She doesn't understand that we just come up with names. But yeah, that was a pretty fun fight to start off the night.
Yeah.
Light heavyweight division, Tyson Pedro defeats the Bear Jew. So you know he's not a real Jew. Real Jew He wouldn't have been so stupid in there, first of all.
Well, the minute, I guess, my mistake on this one was the minute Lance bit out him, I should have, not have.
That's very true.
Yeah,
very true. But Tyson Pedro defeats Paul Craig, 4 minutes, 10 seconds of the first round. Moving up to Fox Sports 1, heavyweight division, Mark Godbeer defeats Daniel Spitz, 30-27 across the boards. That fight was pretty awful. Bantamweight division, this is where things started to get good. Yuri Alcantara pulls a knee bar out of his ass, 3 minutes, 13 seconds of the second round, and defeats Luke Sanders after almost getting stopped and kind of getting lucky that Sanders has that Tennessee dummy in him.
A brain the size of a pea?
Yeah, exactly. And then moving up to the featherweight division, Darren Elkins with maybe the best comeback in MMA history. One of the most shocking comebacks in MMA history, certainly. Especially, Darren Elkins getting the KO in the third round, 3 minutes, 19 seconds, head kick, punches, just blowing things up as the plus 600 underdog. And finally, Marcin Tybura defeats the patron saint of Fatty's Gonna Fatty, Luis Henrique, 3 minutes and 46 seconds of the third round. Jay, thoughts on the prelims?
Oh, where do I start? Daniel Spitz is terrible! I mean, he is really, really bad. I had to lower his grade to an F-, which
yes.
I think I got about 7 or 8. I'd have to look, but it's less than 10 fighters overall that are an F-. I mean, Georges Danu territory. I mean, this is absolutely, there are flyweights that probably punch harder than Daniel Spitz. I honestly believe that. I mean, or maybe bantamweights now. I mean, Lineker punches harder. John Dodson punches harder. Cody Garbrandt punches harder than this guy. And this guy weighs is literally double their weight. Literally double. It's absolutely pathetic. How is this guy going to win a professional fight in the UFC if he can't hurt anybody? It's just not going to happen. I mean, I was taken aback. I thought, I didn't see on tape that his power striking was this bad, but it's abysmal. I mean, it's okay. I'm done on that. And then the two fights above it on the card, it's kind of sad. You had two undefeated fighters in Luke Sanders and Mirsad Bektic who, beat the brakes off their opponents and gave the fights away. Sanders should have had. I thought Herb Dean should have stepped in twice in this fight, honestly, to end it. He didn't, and then he gets picked into this ridiculous knee bar out of nowhere and is forced to submit. Pretty stunning. And then the Bektic thing. I mean, he's clearly an elite prospect, but for some reason he kept going to the takedown for no real good reason because Elkins had no real shot in a standing exchange. Bektic tires himself out and then ends up getting KO'd. It was stunning, no doubt about it. And on the heavyweight fight, I gotta say, Marcin Tybura came into the UFC with a good amount of hype, from Russia, from the regional scene over there. It took him a little while. He lost to Timmy Johnson in a really close fight, but, he's looked pretty good in his last few fights. He's well-rounded. His striking's coming along. His takedown defense is really solid. And he's one of the few heavyweights who can actually transition on the mat, and do so pretty quickly. So he's got the full package. And I think he's going to be a top 10 heavyweight, within a year or two.
Nushan, thoughts prelims?
That fight IQ from a couple of these guys. Luke Sanders just does what he should have done and smashed Alcantara, and then he decides to just knee him in the head for no reason. And I thought Alcantara would just quit at that point. He probably could have got a free win like that. But he continued fighting, good on him, and then Sanders just gives him his leg. I mean, at least Sanders is smart enough to not fight the knee bar, because his knee would have been just roasted. But man, that was an interesting way to throw away a fight. And then he could only be topped by Bektic. I mean, that fight could have been stopped a couple times. Elkins can take a beating. Holy shit. But Bektic was he was hitting him at all times when he was on the feet. Like, I don't think Elkins barely hit him. So why was he pushing that takedown? Like, I know that's what he does, so you resort to that, but maybe he'll learn from this, but he's
fear the damage, man. Fear the damage.
Maybe he knows he doesn't have a good chin, so he doesn't want to risk it, especially when he's smashed a guy this much. I don't know, but that chin might cost him again in the future. You got to look out for that. And yeah, Tiberiu looked pretty good for a heavyweight, so let's have low expectations.
Wes?
Yeah, I thought Tyson Pedro looked pretty decent too in a pretty shallow division in the UFC.
He's like top 10 right now.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't look bad at all. I mean, he's not, we don't really know how good Paul Craig is. I don't think he's some scrub or anything. So I think that was a pretty decent win for Tyson Pedro, especially how he got it done. And, then Spitz, man, Jesus, I mean, the guy was supposed to have some decent wrestling and stuff too, but fuck, man, he looked just terrible. Luke Sanders, man, that knee is, I can't remember too many times where I've seen just literally doing the dumbest thing I've ever seen in a fight. Like, what is going through your mind? And he even like looked at him, teed it up, boom. And I don't understand it, man. And, I agree with Sean. I mean, that fight could have been stopped 2 or 3 times. I guess you could say a good thing that he didn't, because Alcantara won, but man, he let him take a beating. And, and good on Yuri, man, because he could have got out of there. Mad respect to the dude, because, 9 out of 10 guys would have quit. They'd have took their way out after taking a beating like that, when he got kneed. So, yeah, mad respect. And then, man, Bektic, dude, he was minus 3750 going into the 3rd round. That's how big of a favorite he was live on 5 Dimes. And I don't know. I think he's got a little bit of a cardio problem for sure. I mean, we've seen him get tired in a couple fights now. But man, Darren Elkins man, he could take a beating. It probably should have been stopped a couple times, honestly. But, man, you got to finish fights. You can't let them get away like that, especially when you're up that big. You're minus 3750 favor. You got to finish fights like that. And, I don't think that's the last we see of Bektic being a contender in this division. He's still pretty young in the sport. So, and then, I agree with Jay, man. Tiberiu, he could be a top 10 heavyweight. There's just not many guys out there. The dude's got some pretty decent skills. He gets taken down a little bit, but he's got really good get ups and stuff. So, and, Enrique, man, just bet on the over and cash your ticket, because
just grinding.
Fatties are going to fatty when Enrique fights.
Enrique's not terrible either, though. I mean, he's not terrible.
No, he's not. He's not horrible. Yeah,
against a lot of guys, he hits those takedowns. He controls them from top position, and either gets a late sub or wins the fight.
I mean, he's limited, but like he can stick around.
Look at the division. Yeah, just look at the division. Just be a little bit skilled and have not be a slobbering fat fuck.
And he's pretty young, right?
You're top 10 heavyweight.
Yeah, he's still only like 23, 24, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
13 fights.
Yeah.
Yep. All right, that's going to bring us up to the main cards, kicking it off with a couple young, hungry prospects in the heavyweight division. Alistair Overeem defeats Mark Hunt, KO with some nasty knees. 1 minute, 44 seconds of the 3rd round. Fatty's gonna fatty, going 3 for 3 on this card, as you do. And then to some grizzled vets in the women's strawweight division. We have Cynthia Calvillo and Amanda Cooper. Cynthia Calvillo, I guess she was the Mexican one, defeats Cooper by a rear naked choke, 3 minutes and 19 seconds into the fight. That was a thing that happened. on a main card of a pay-per-view in 2017.
Yep.
Although I will say the one cool thing about that fight was the anaconda to back control transition. That was pretty dope when she hit that.
She didn't mean to do that, Brad. Come on, let's be serious
here.
I
don't think so. So we'll talk about those two fights, and then we'll get to the main event.
keep your boner down, Brad.
I think if you look in Overeem's closet, you're going to find a Mark Hunt fathead. He took his soul. That's it. I think Mark Hunt retires. I don't really see there's any way you could come back from that. That was and not just that, but Overeem, he's done this his last few fights. He's fought really smart. He covers up when he knows there's a little bit of trouble. He either does that or he pushes up against the cage.
He runs away like a scared little girl too.
It's smart though.
It works. It works.
Smart. He is for a guy who's been hit in the head as many times as Overeem has, he fights as smart as anybody does. And it puts him right in the top 5 in this weight class, and he's dangerous. Look, he's already beaten Junior Dos Santos. I mean, JDS, if he potentially beats Stipe, that fight could happen again potentially. And he had Stipe hurt not too long ago either. He could have easily won the title. So definitely interesting what's going to happen here. Is they going to put him against Hagano? Is that actually going to happen? I mean, who knows? I would love to see it, but we'll see. And this Paige Van Zandt's training partner, this Calvillo, I mean, her striking is pretty much next to nothing, but her grappling skill set is pretty sick. Especially in this weight class. I mean, she could definitely get some wins. So definitely, I think she'll do pretty well in this organization.
Sean?
Man, I thought my Overeem decision at plus 500 had a chance.
Oof, me too. I was right there with you.
It was getting there. It was getting close, and then he decided to cave Mark Hunt's skull in. Mm-hmm. That was a vicious KO, man. Overeem's got some sick KO knee KOs, and that was right up there. And then a woman's fight finished, so I lost some money, so that's always good too.
Wes?
Yeah, that was just complete vintage Uberine, man. Overeem's
the physique was a little better tonight, or that fight too.
Yeah, it was. Overeem's clinch knees might be the most dangerous, devastating thing that MMA's ever seen. Like, no bullshit. He's done that for so many years, knocked out so many guys with those knees. Just incredible. We know the chin that Mark Hunt has. I mean, that was just incredible. I'm with Jay too. I think this might be getting close to the end for Hunt, especially coming off a payday like he got. He got 750 G's for that fight. That's a really good check. So, that was a really bad knockout for Hunt. And, the funny thing about that fight is just the thing that came out about Overeem being in the hospital twice and stuff leading up to this fight and still fighting, and Dana kind of coming out afterwards and talking about it, and then the whole thing with Khabib going to the hospital and him saying Khabib went rogue because the dude went to a hospital and didn't see the UFC's doctors and shit. So Dana likes to play that kind of shit, but I just found it kind of funny. And then the Cavallo chick, I mean, they need anybody in these women's divisions. So yeah, hopefully she can, improve a little bit more. She'll get some wins.
Yep. All right. Moving up to the middleweight division.
Oh, where it is.
Oh boy.
The long awaited debut of Rashad Evans at middleweight. But he stepped in there against a buzzsaw. Old man Dan. The power of 2 first names. Dan Kelly, just a rude awakening at 185 for Rashad Evans. I was marking out in the crowds. Everyone was like, "Oh, Rashad looks great," and I was like, "He's gonna lose this old dude." Just watch.
The one Dan Kelly fan.
But by the end of the fight, everybody loved Dan Kelly. Everybody, just so much heart, the desire. I think this.
The grit.
this youngster could be a future champion at middleweight. I don't know, guys. Jay, thoughts on this one?
Man, his props. Holy shit!
I think how this fight played out was the most stunning thing on this fight card. How in the world does Dan Kelly outstrike Rashad Evans?
Because it's 2017.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There is no reason in the world where Dan Kelly is outpunching Rashad Evans. There is not. That's all I can say. I mean,
is it because he knows how to use a jab?
It's like a winging jab.
One wants to fight and one doesn't.
He throws like a 45-degree uppercut, too. That's a pretty deadly punch.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dan Kelly showed me something. I think I'm finally believing in Dan Kelly. God help me.
You have right?
What was the message that I said that I threw in one of the chat rooms just before the fight? I'm like, I don't know how he wins this fight.
But he's gonna do it.
Because he's worse than Rashad at everything. But he's gonna do it. That's what he does.
Each other against the cage. I did not think he was just going to outstrike and significantly outstrike him. Man, Thunder Dan Kelly.
What about Kelly's footwork being better than Rashad? And then in the press conference, they're showing him a pic of his leg. It's a knee taped like Sakuraba out there.
No,
it was all over it.
His knee, like that bandage is like a Patrick Ewing knee,
knee
so where those knee pads that are like the size of the earth. Yeah.
Oh man, he is great. Dan Kelly is everything great about MMA. It's awesome.
You know what? He really is.
Yeah.
I spent this whole fight giggling.
When old Dan retires, another old Dan shows up. You know what's going to be funny? Dan Kelly's going to retire, and Dan Hardy's going to come back and dominate at welterweight.
I hope so. Oh man. But again, plus 200 again. That's 6-1 in the UFC. 7 times being the underdog.
How was that a split decision? Oof, that was bad.
Yeah, that was one of the really, really bad cards. Yeah, it's time for Rashad, right? I mean, he needs to start just doing the TV because. Yeah.
Well, the other thing is Rashad never, ever again take a fight against a southpaw. Because he doesn't know what to do against a southpaw.
He looked completely lost out there. Not that he couldn't just get off. He looked completely lost out there.
He probably was.
Yeah.
He didn't know where his house was.
And looked great, man. Like, he looked great at 185. Like, physically, he looked fucking really good. Like, I was surprised that he looked that good on the scale, but.
And he would look quick. He would look quick when he was like feigning and stuff like that, and just moving around. And then he just wouldn't throw, and then all of a sudden that quick movement's gone, and Dan Kelly's picking him apart.
Yeah, dude, insane.
Yeah, when Dan Kelly has a better sense of range than you, then I don't know, man.
Jay said it's like the most shocking thing on the card. It is, but it isn't. Like we kind of knew there was that possibility that Dan Kelly could happen again like he has every other time. But man, it's just shocking that Rashad he looked lost to me. He just didn't look. Dan Kelly was out, had better fucking movement and footwork than Rashad Evans at 185.
Talking about a former world champion at
5 rounds with John Jones.
Yeah, dude.
It wasn't he lost that fight, but it wasn't like, it wasn't a mauling, not at all. That was only
and it wasn't even that long ago.
Rashad's been in there with like the best of the world in that division. I mean, it's pretty shocking.
When you look back at Rashad's wiki, I mean, they're talking about a UFC Hall of Famer there.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
You're gonna look at his Wikipedia in like 3 or 4 years. Look at it now and look at his losses. What's his record? Like 21-5, something like that. He's got losses to John Jones, a few other guys. I guess Buck as well.
And Dan Kelly.
Fucking Dan Kelly! Hell, what the fuck?
It's awesome. It's awesome. I love it. Another thing that we thought could happen, co-main event, lightweight division, Lando Venata's out there just loving himself, just digging everything he's doing. David Tamer's just out there punching him in the face. 30-27 across the board for Tamer. And, he closed like 325? Little 325 action there.
Yeah, I think that's what I got.
Yeah, good stuff. The Tamer decision, Kelly decision portion of the round robin, that helped recoup some of the early losses of the night, that's for sure. Jay, thoughts on this one?
Tamer's a better striker than Venata. He's more technical, and he came from a pretty acclaimed striking background, and in a striking fight, and it's going to be 15 minutes of striking pretty much. He proved to be the victor. He's certainly skilled, and if fights were just standing exchanges, he'd do very well in this organization. I guess we need to kind of see what he can do against, a little more of a mixed kind of a fight, hence the mixed martial arts. But, certainly a good amount to like here, and nice to see Venata, put down a peg or two.
Yeah, he definitely needed to be taken down a little bit. I almost bet McDessie against him, but McDessie just too washed, and I was like, next solid technical striker he faces, I'm betting on that dude. And it was his next fight, so that worked out. Sean?
Yeah, I was looking to fade him too, but I missed my shot there. I played doesn't go the distance, and because I thought both these guys were going to crack, and they did, but both of them pretty durable. They can both take it.
Chins.
Very impressive from Tamer, that's for sure.
Wes?
Yeah, man, I think Tamer's legit. I think this guy with some more seasoning can be something in that division. Absolutely. I still wouldn't give up on Venata, though. I think that guy's going to make some noise. He's just around too many really good guys and really good coaches. I think you're both right. He needed to be, taken down a little bit. He got hyped up pretty good going with Ferguson like he did, and then getting that, just amazing knockout over McDessie. So the head was getting a little big, but the guy's got just supreme skills, man. Very fun to watch too. So just think both of these guys are going to have really good careers.
His head got so big he had to shave his hair to fit through doors.
Yeah.
All right, that does it for UFC 209. Now we're moving on to this weekend's card down in, where are we, Fortaleza,
Brazil.
For UFC Fight Night 106. Vitor and Gastelum in the main event. But we're going to kick it off. UFC Fight Pass prelims, middleweight division. Gareth McClellan, the preeminent South African in MMA, against Paulo Henrique Costa, or I looked up his nickname, but I forget what it is. It's one of those. It's like Borrachinha or something like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yep.
But I know that borracha in Spanish means drunk.
Little drunk.
Maybe, that little drunk. Is that his nickname?
Not sure. I'd have to inquire with.
You gotta check with the wife.
Yeah, I'll come back. I'll come back on next episode and give you a confirmation
and confirm that. But Gareth McClellan against the little drunk. Jay, what's your thoughts?
I got Paulo Henrique a D+, McClellan a D, and I'm probably being a bit generous with that. He's somewhat durable. And physically he can compete in this weight class. But what I see here is, Henrique hits hard. He's got pretty decent striking technique with his hands. Good hand speed. And McClellan's definitely not a speed guy. I think he's going to get lit up on the feet and KO'd. The thing with Paulo Henrique is the one fight I really remember from the Tough House, that he was in that went the distance. He slowed down tremendously. So if McClellan could survive the early storm, would it shock me if he won a decision on the cards? No. But really the most likely result is Henrique Costa by knockout, and to do so in round one.
Sean?
Google Translation says that borrachina means rubber band in English.
That makes a little more sense.
It's the rubber
like
band man. Yeah.
No.
It's
don't
got
like
some
It's
slang.
Taliban.
No, sure, that's
Yeah.
a good nickname for him.
Wild as the Taliban?
Yeah. I'm guessing most people don't understand that reference, Wes, but
No,
I got it because
I'm kind
a
of
white boy gangster.
Obviously.
All right. Well, Jay might not get it. Yeah, our favorite South African is going to lose, and the only question is if he can take it for 3 rounds. And seeing as the other guy has 1 million first round finishes, I would say that's probably going to happen. But I ain't betting on it.
Wes?
Yeah, I think Jay's right that if McClellan can last a little bit, it might get interesting, but I just don't see it. I think this is a little bit of a setup fight for Rubber Band Man here, and I think he gets a knockout.
Yeah, I kind of want to agree with you guys, but at the same time, he's never been out past the first round in his fights. He usually gets after guys pretty quick, but throws a lot of kicks that he doesn't set up, which maybe it won't in this fight, but eventually it's going to lead to him getting taken down. The hands are all right, but I think it's mostly just a product of him throwing hard rather than really having great technique on the feet. And the one time I saw a guy push him, he easily got him to the cage, ended up getting him down. He popped back up to his feet, but that was against a Brazilian dude who couldn't wrestle at all. So maybe against a South African dude who can't wrestle at all, he ends up staying on his back for a little bit more. But I'm going to have to pick a little drunk here and wait to fade him down the road.
That's way better than Rubber Band Man.
Sure is.
Next up, featherweight division. We got Hani Jason against Jeremy Kennedy. Jay?
I got Kennedy at D+, Hani Jason a C. Definitely a little surprised by this line. I guess the reality is Kennedy is still a bit of an unknown. He won his UFC debut, but it wasn't like it wasn't a runaway. He just kind of outworked his opponent. Pretty good conditioning, was able to get the job done. Hani Jason, winner of Tough Brazil. Good submission game, hits with pretty decent power. I certainly think he's the more skilled fighter. I'm just a little surprised that he's the underdog here. It's not, it's certainly modest. Both guys are minus money still, but it's, Kennedy, I think, is minus 125 or so. But like I said, in terms of a skill, fight in Brazil, I think that plays into this guy's favor. So I got a 1-unit bet on Hani Jason, minus 105.
Sean?
Yeah, it's tough to go against Hani Jason at home. He usually fares pretty well in Brazil. Jeremy Kennedy, Junior Bacon Cheeseburger. I don't know if that's a great nickname, but I'm guessing Hani Jason should be able to submit him or maybe just grab a decision.
Wes?
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the same way. I just don't know if Kennedy's. I don't think he can take him down and control him, kind of like Bermudez did. Hani in that fight was just a fucking idiot. But this guy isn't Bermudez, and Hani at home. I want to wait to see him on the scale. If he's on that Brazilian mountain yams like they usually are down there, I'll probably have to bet Hani Jason if he doesn't get up too much, too bigger. So yeah,
Magma alert.
Speaking of which, how sad is it that Mr. Magma got taken off the card this week?
God.
That's one of my favorite thing about Brazil cards is seeing Mr. Magma.
Is that breaking news, Brad? That he's off the card?
It's always breaking news.
That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, for me, I am actually going to side with Kennedy. Hani Jason's been so inactive lately, getting popped for drugs, getting injured, all sorts of things. He's now like 33, 34, so getting up in age. And Kennedy, he's just kind of relentless with his grappling, so I think that he can get in the clinch, get takedowns. it's going to be one of those cases where early on, Honey Jason's popping up. Round 2, spends a little bit more time on his back. Round 3, probably spends the whole thing on his back. I don't think he's able to get the sub from his back here. And I think Kennedy ends up winning a decision. So I am going to side with him just slightly. So one favorite pick, I guess, because he's the slight favorite here. Next up, we are moving to the lightweight division. Still kind of throws me off that Josh Berkman's a lightweight, and Michel Tractor Prazeres, he's coming in at like 185 on Fight Night, so that's not a little dude. But we have Tractor against the People's Warrior, Josh Berkman. Gotta love him. People's soul patch, Jay.
Berkman C-, Prazeres a C. Both these guys, are pretty physical. But what, I've kind of seen in recent fights is that Berkman's definitely tailing off. Just look at the Zach Otto fight. That says a lot about where Berkman's at currently. Prazeres has never really been a guy who's a world beater, but his record is pretty damn strong. He's a physical fighter. And his conditioning has even improved a bit in recent fights. So, this is a case, I think, where you just have to fade the guy who's certainly fading a lot more. And that's Josh Berkman. So again, I'll go with Prazeres in this fight. I think this goes to a decision. So the over or fight goes the distance is probably the best bet if you have to bet this fight. But yeah, I guess given the price, Prazeres over 2-1. I'll pass. He's done a couple of dumb things in the past that, kind of make me not want to bet him ever again. So, let's just go with that.
Yeah, I got you. I got it.
Cejudo against Baby Pettis.
Yep, 211. Man, that's going to be a good card.
They are loading that card, man. Holy shit.
Why are they loaded it so much? What about 210 or 212?
They're going. I don't get, man. They literally load a card and then do shit for 2 months.
I kind of get if it's every pay-per-view you want to load up so you could sell it. That would be ideal, but then you leave some of them kind of barren, but then you do
Dallas a pretty big market, so maybe that's kind of the thinking behind it too.
Big arenas too, yeah.
Yeah, Dallas is a really big market. Eddie Alvarez.
Speaking of loading that card, Jarvis Danho, Jay, your boy.
An F-.
Sean, what are your thoughts on whatever fight we're on?
Yeah, going into this fight, I was kind of hoping to get a better number on Tractor. Josh Berkman has just looked so horrible, but I thought maybe his name might give us a little cheaper number, but obviously that's not the case. I do think it goes over 2.5. I think that minus 200 over 2.5 is a good parlay piece. I'll be putting that with something. But yeah, I gotta go with Tractor. Berkman's just looked so bad lately, so washed and just terrible. And I don't know, this fight's at lightweight, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, Berkman's getting old and that weight cut cannot be fun. I don't know. I think he's done at this point, and Tractor should take a decision.
Wes?
Yeah, I'm kind of along the same thing. Berkman cutting to 155 again. He's had some slight problems getting there. And then, Prazeres has looked pretty decent. Like Jay said, his past few fights, he's, kind of gotten his cardio a little bit better. And he seems to steal rounds off of guys down in Brazil. Hard to lay that price. I kind of want to see something, him by decision. The over is that's one of my favorite plays on this card is the over here. It's two guys that literally do nothing but stand there and stare at each other. So yeah, I really like the over. I'll be putting that in a couple things.
I don't get the hate on Prazeres. I like him. He's made me some money in the past.
Yep.
He's pretty consistent. He's not the most exciting guy in the world, but he gets out there, he throws heavy to work his way into the clinch, and then he's just so fucking strong that the guys can't deal with him. And I think that's going to be the case here. He's going to get inside. He's going to get some takedowns on Berkman. It's going to be pretty workmanlike, but he's going to take a clear decision here. I might even look at the points prop on this one, but definitely like Prazeres, and it's probably going to be a decision because Berkman, for all of his faults, still tough as hell. Next up, we have bantamweight division. Should be a fun little grappling battle here, again between Hani Yahya and Joe Soto. Jay?
Yeah, both these guys a C-. Soto is certainly the more well-rounded fighter, but in a fight that, both fighters could potentially put this fight on the ground. Hani Yahya is better. He's a better grappler. He's a much better submission specialist. And without it being a significant time on the feet in a standing exchange, you're going to see a good amount of time of this fight on the ground. You got to like Yahya more. He's just superior in that realm. So I'll take Hani Yahya probably by decision.
Sean?
Hani Yahya has 0 KOs/TKOs in 23 wins. You'd think with like how good he was with grappling, he might just pound some guy out, but nah, he's just taking subs. Yeah, he doesn't give a shit. He doesn't want to punch people. He's looking to sub people. But yeah, like Jay said, I think he's just the better grappler, and Soto's gonna be fine just going into that world with Hani Yahya, and I expect Hani Yahya to get a decision.
Wes?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything both of those guys said. I like Hani Yahya here. Gonna probably do something with him straight and look at Yahya by sub when that comes out.
Yeah, and you look at these two guys, I think combined their takedown defense success rate is like 60%. So basically any time anyone goes for a takedown on either guy, they're getting it. And if it turns into that sort of fight, you got to favor Hani Yahya. He's the far more skilled grappler in this fight. Joe Soto's a good grappler, but Hani Yahya is one of the best. So I like him to win himself a decision here. Maybe going down to Brazil, it's one of those 100 degrees or something like that, and Soto gets a little tired. He can get a finish late in the fight, but probably just a decision for Hani. Speaking of grapplers, welterweight division, world jiu-jitsu champion, I think 4 times, Sergio Moraes, against 2015 ADCC champion Davi Ramos. Jay?
I haven't completed my grade on Ramos yet, but do we really need to wear MMA gloves? Can't we just get these guys in the gi and do a grappling match? And that would be like much more entertaining. Like
I feel like it would have to be no gi for it to be fair for Ramos, because in the gi, Moraes is just Moraes would kill him.
That's just so gi, Brad.
Couple of G's and a gi, Jay.
Two gis and a G. Yeah, that's all. I mean, who knows? I mean, I'd really like to see more tape on Ramos, in terms of an MMA fight to see if he can compete. I mean, Moraes has had a couple moments on the feet where it's like he'll have a stunning knockout out of nowhere. He's kind of like Yoel Romero in a weird way. Like he kind of chills for a bit and then all of a sudden he kind of gets you. He kind of has that propensity to like win in third rounds. So yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens.
Excellent stuff. Sean?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Moraes wins. He actually hasn't lost in like 6 fights, which is kind of just out of nowhere. Obviously hasn't been fighting great guys, but, he kind of does some stupid things at times, which kind of frustrates me if I have money on him. I don't know enough about this Ramos. I know he's a grappler, but maybe Moraes just goes and dummies him, and we look at this minus 205, and we're like, why didn't we bet this? But I'd rather take a look at Ramos and go from there.
Wes?
Yeah, I'm kind of feeling that way too. I mean, it seems like Moraes is kind of slowing down a little. I mean, a few fights ago, I think he got a bad decision. I believe it was Chagas that probably beat him, and he got a split decision.
It was a draw.
No, that was the one where he got a draw. I thought it was his last fight where he got the
Zach
split decision
Otto
he
he won,
deserve.
and he didn't win. Yeah,
he didn't deserve to win that fight.
Yeah, yep. and then had a draw with fucking Lou and Chagas.
Yep.
So I have a feeling that he's starting to slow down. But like Sean said, I don't know enough about Ramos. Haven't seen a lot of him. I'm going to have to pick Moraes just for the experience factor, and it's still a cage fight. It's not a jiu-jitsu competition. But like Sean said, also we might look back after this fight and be like, minus 200 was a gift, but I can't take that chance. So Moraes the pick, but probably no bet.
Yeah, I like Moraes here as well. I think that Ramos is actually a slightly better athlete. He's faster, probably has a little bit more power in his hands, but he's also a lightweight, moving up and taking this fight on about a week's notice. So that's never a great combination to make your UFC debut. And the style matchup's just good for Moraes. I don't think that Ramos is going to knock him out. And if it turns into a grappling match, I think Moraes is the better, bigger grappler. So, Ramos might surprise me, but I'm leaning pretty heavily towards Moraes. As you guys said, though, he hasn't looked great lately, so it's tough to, even with it not being a big price tag, it's tough to lay it here. Next up, the Fox Sports 1 main event before the Fox Sports 1 main cards. Lightweight division. We got Grandpa Trinaldo taking on Kevin Lee. Jay, what do we got here?
I got both these guys a B-. This basically kicks off 6 straight fights that actually have meaning and purpose. Actually 7 straight fights. So,
Shogun and John Vellante doesn't have meaning and purpose. Come on.
We'll see if Shogun's retired.
Damn right that
what?
does. Either way, probably one of the best fight night cards of the year this will be. And this is a really compelling fight between 2 guys on pretty good runs. Kevin Lee, coming off an excellent win over a guy I really thought highly of in Magomed Mustafayev. Who he just completely out-grappled and submitted him unconscious. And Trinaldo's on like a ridiculous winning streak now, isn't he? Or something.
7 in a row.
7 in a row. Looks to be like, timeless in his age because he's an old man. But he keeps winning. This is a really tough fight to call, beforehand. How much success will Lee have with his grappling? He thinks he's the best grappler in this division, which I still had to laugh at when he said that. And then Trinaldo's got a nice mix. I mean, he could certainly strike. He's completely schooled Ross Pearson in the striking when they fought. And then he could also, wrestle a bit too. So, definitely a pretty well-rounded skill set. For me, I think this is a great live betting opportunity. I think you'll be able to tell pretty quickly, if Kevin Lee's going to win the fight. Based on how he does in the first round. If he gets dominated in the first round, he ain't gonna win. But Trinaldo's the type who likes to slow down, so that could happen as well. So, take this fight with a live betting opportunity. That's my take.
Sean?
I really don't like Kevin Lee. I just don't like his vibe. He also cost me a good chunk of change by getting knocked the fuck out by Leonardo Santos. That was I will never forget that. I will never forget that.
It cost everybody, didn't it?
But that was a impressive win against Mustafayev. Got to give him props for that. Grandpa Trinaldo, on the other hand, I love this dude. This guy's just priceless. He's beating guys that he shouldn't beat, most likely, but he's doing it, and he's actually looks like he's learning things even at his old age. I'm gonna pick Trinaldo. It's probably a fanboy pick, and I'll probably bet him really small, but that's just the way it goes. I gotta back Trinaldo to the wheels fall off.
we've been doing it for a while. It's been working out for the most part.
Yep.
I think ever since like the Norman Park fight, we've been pretty much hitting him every time as the dog. All right, Wes, what you got here?
Yeah, I'm in a tough spot. I've bet Granddad Trinaldo for, man, it seems like a couple years now, every single fight. And I've also faded Lee in almost every single fight except against fucking Leonardo, and I lost my ass. So, man, I just have a kind of hatred for Kevin Lee and a fondness for Granddad. But, man, I think Kevin Lee wins this fight. So impressed by him in that last fight. Like Jay said, was really high on the Russian, and man, he put it on him, dude. It was really, really impressive. I think I'm just going to pick Kevin Lee here and not bet this fight because I can't do it to Papa Trinaldo, but I think Kevin Lee wins this fight.
Sadly, I'm in agreement with you, Wes. I don't really want to see it, but I think Kevin Lee is a good enough wrestler that he can get top position, and I think for all of the improvements that the Grandpa Trinaldo's made, once he's got a guy on top of him, I think that cardio is going to fade a little bit quicker than it's been fading recently. And he's not going to have enough left in the tank by the third round to, put it on Lee, as he's been able to sort of build up through his fights lately. So I think Lee starts off early and kind of gets the ball rolling downhill in this one. Eventually, maybe even gets a late stoppage, but I think the old man hangs in there. Moving up to the main card, we have a rematch from a couple months ago, welterweight division. Against Tim Means, Dirty Bird. Jay?
Yeah, I got Alex Oliveira, C+, Tim Means, B-. We saw this fight a few months ago. We saw Tim Means dominate, and then Alex Oliveira got elbowed in the head, just kneed in the head. And then the ref stepped in and he was like, I can't fight anymore, and they stopped it, and therefore nobody won.
He fucking quit.
He quit.
Even though Tim Means was like, I threw that knee on purpose.
Yeah.
So we saw that.
He's as smart as Joe Rogan when it comes to a downed opponent.
Difference, yeah. Oh, man. The difference between that fight and this fight is this fight's 5,000 miles away back in Brazil. That could certainly play a factor. I think there could be a bit of an overreaction from that first fight. But we'll see. You have to favor Tim Means, though, because we've already saw this. And Tim Means won. But this really becomes a value play, potentially, on Alex Oliveira. So, personally, I want, about plus 215 to play it. It's not there currently, but if he gets over plus 215, I'll be making a bet on Oliveira.
Sean?
Yeah, this line opened Tim Means minus 165. At that point, I would have definitely got Means, but it obviously didn't last that long, and it skyrocketed. The first fight, we kind of know what happened. I wouldn't say it was complete domination. Means did take it to him pretty good, but
it was trending in that direction.
Yeah, it was definitely, we saw where it was going. It's not a good look when you quit like that. I don't know. I wouldn't back a fighter that quits like that. You'd have to give me a pretty big number. I know some people are on it. They just have a feeling about this fight, but Tim Means is a veteran. He knows he should be confident considering how that last fight was going. I'm going to pick Tim Means, and that number's got to go pretty damn high for me to bet Oliveira, but I can't bet Tim Means either at minus 255.
Wesley?
Yeah, I guess I can understand, the people how they're trying to justify their stab. I mean, Cowboy had a couple spots in that, but man, come on. I mean, we all saw where this was going. And then the knee was pretty clean, but it wasn't like he was, knocked out or flash knocked out by the knee or anything. He quit. He wanted a way out. He was getting his ass whooped and wanted a way out. Like I said, I can see people kind of making their pitch to take that high number. It's a really good price, but it's a dart. It's no more than that, because like I said, we've seen where that fight was going. Tim Means was way the better fighter. I don't think it being in Brazil changes anything. Tim Means has fought all over the world. Going down to Brazil means jack shit to him. So yeah, I'm gonna pick Tim Means, but I don't know if I can bet it at that line. It's Cowboy still hits hard, so at minus 200, I can't play that, but Tim Means is the pick.
Jay, it looks like you got your plus 215.
Looks
moving. Like the lines moved there, but for me, no way I'm taking it. First fight I had Tim Means by TKO. It was one of my prop round robin legs. It was like 4-something, and thought it was a great bet. Looked like a great bet for a while. Oliveira had an early takedown in that fight, but Means got back up to his feet, actually started to control the wrestling, which is the really scary part in this fight for Oliveira. And then obviously we know what he can do on the feet. So I just don't see how Oliveira wins. And, for a fight that I had a pretty decent sized bet on the first time, because I had the Means money line as well, it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to have much of anything on it this time just because of the way the lines moved. Next up, women's bantamweight division. We got Big Booty Betchy taking on the school teacher. Jay? Uh-oh. Jay's dead.
He's there. I don't know how dead he is.
He's
dead.
All right, fuck him.
Sean, what you got?
You know the deal. I played the over. I mean, this is I don't know. This one's more obvious than others. Maybe I'm overthinking it, but yeah, I definitely played the over. I got I think 245. That was the opener. Neither of these women hit hard. They don't really grapple. Out of these two shitty fighters, I guess I'll pick Betchy. Why not?
Yeah, you will. You got carried by 5 cents, my friend.
Yeah, it happens.
Wes, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, people shit on Betchy a lot, man, but she's pretty tough, man. She's durable too. I mean, she stayed in there tough with some decent fighters. I mean, I don't think any of us think Jessica Eye is great or anything, but I mean, she told her up. I mean, I kind of like her in this fight. I don't know if I can bet it. She's plus money right now, so it's kind of got me thinking a little bit, but I love the over here. I'm with Sean. I'm going to parlay this over with the Berkman over. That'd be one of the plays I have with that Berkman over. This is going to go to a decision, but I'm probably gonna bet Betch. I just think she's kind of tough. I think she'll get the school teacher.
I'm leaning that way as well. I just think that Renaud doesn't perform too well when people are really pressuring her, and for all the things she can't do, that's the one thing she can is get in your face. In terms of Betchy, so she's going to come forward. She's going to put a lot of volume out there. I just don't think that Renaud is going to be able to answer it. Going to go to the cards, and then you're talking about a Brazilian moving forward, fighting aggressively in Brazil against a foreigner. So all that, it seems to add up to a Betchy win for me, and I might end up on that myself. So we shall see. Now moving up to the good shit. Flyweight division, UCA Formiga taking on Ray Borg. Jay, you back?
I'm back.
There you go. Formiga and Borg. Have at it.
Formiga B plus. Borg B minus.
There's
the thing with what?
You asking me or telling me?
I'm telling you.
Okay.
I'm definitely surprised by the line in this fight. I mean, I like Ray Borg as a fighter, but he's young, he's inexperienced, and it's just not as physical. I shouldn't say he's as physical, but Formiga just a more well-rounded grappler and even a better striker. So it's a tough one for Ray Borg to go down to Brazil and get this fight, and get this W. It would be a big win, the biggest of his career by far, but it's not going to happen for him. So Formiga for the win, and at minus 125, I think that's an excellent price in getting the job done.
Sean?
I think Formiga just is criminally underrated. He, I don't know if people just don't like his style. He does have quite a few decisions. But we saw what he could do to Dustin Ortiz, and he did well against Wilson Hayes. And that was a pretty damn close fight he had with Henry Cejudo. Like, he is very, very good. And while I think Ray Borg is very good, and he will be very good, I don't know if he's at the point where he can compete with a good veteran in Jussier Formiga. Scoggins was able to grapple with Ray Borg, and I think Formiga is going to be able to do the same thing. I like Formiga. I bet him at minus 125, and I also played the over with the Becci over.
That works. Wes?
Yeah, I mean, Formiga is even more than criminally underrated. I mean, he's a really, really good fighter. I mean, his only 3 losses is Cejudo, Benavidez, and Dotson. He went tough with Cejudo, beat Hayes, Makowski, some really good guys. Then on the other hand, Borg, like Jay said, still young and found ways to lose against, Ortiz and Scoggins. I just think Formiga's going to have a little too much for him here. And at minus 125 down in Brazil, man, I really, really like that price. So Formiga will be a pretty big bet for me here.
Yeah, I like Formiga quite a bit here as well. The big thing that I look at is that Wilson Hayes fight that you guys mentioned. Hayes is essentially, the same sort of stocky, powerful type of wrestler that Ray Borg is, and Formiga out-wrestled him pretty easily. And then, Formiga's ability to take the back in so many different ways is probably the best in MMA. And I just think that he's sort of going to outwit Borg in all those scrambles. It's going to be a close fight. It's going to be competitive, but you've got the guy that's got that top level experience, and I think that's going to show through in this fight. So I like Formiga. I think we all like Formiga, and he is going to be at minus 125. Our 5dimes.eu consensus bet of the week. There's no props out, so this is the only consensus bet for the moment. We might release something a little bit later once we get all of our props for the card. But for now, head over to 5dimes.eu, lock in that Formiga minus 125, and I think we've actually made a little bit of money on some of our consensus bets lately. It's a new feeling, but I kind of like it. I think we should do it again.
Maybe if we'd have done a show last week, we'd all had that Tamer big dog money on the consensus. So I'm pretty sure that we would have.
Tamer, Kelly, jeez.
Yeah.
And now we're moving up to the lightweight division.
Nope.
No.
Oh yeah, we are. Sorry.
Yes, we are.
Heavyweight. I'm drunk. It's my fault. Just blame me.
Punch drunk or drunk?
A little of both.
Okay.
All right. Now moving up to the lightweight division. Edson Barbosa, Beneil Dariush. New Sean's drunk, but we're all good. Jay, what you got?
I got Barbosa B plus, Dariush B. this fight really comes down to can Dariush score a takedown in this bout? Because in a submission battle, Dariush could be pretty dangerous, but Barbosa's takedown defense is pretty strong. I don't think Dariush is going to be able to get close enough to Barbosa to land any of these big strikes. Barbosa does a really good job at maintaining distance unless a guy is super aggressive. Dariush really isn't that guy. He's a bit more calculated, and Barbosa just, a different level when it comes to striking. I like Barbosa in this matchup to get the W. Probably by decision, honestly.
Sean?
Yeah, I really like Barbosa here too. He's just looked like he's steadily improving his last 4 fights. Seems like he's putting it all together, and that Tony Ferguson fight was unreal. If he's not fighting Tony Ferguson, whoever he was fighting would have been put out really early. And like Jay said, he's got really good takedown defense, and I think Dariush is going to struggle to get him down, and that is not a good thing to be on the feet with Edson Barbosa, because those leg kicks are going to fuck your day up. And that's his legs are going to get chopped down, and then he's going to struggle to get him down even more, and it's going to be a bad night, I think, for Beneil Dariush. I parlayed Barbosa with something later on in the card.
Wes?
Yeah, I kind of agree with Jay. I think Dariush has got to get a takedown to win this fight, and I just can't see him doing that against Barbosa. Barbosa uses his distance and kind of like his range to stop takedowns too. He kind of keeps guys off with his range, kind of like Aldo does, and it's magnificent to watch, man. Barbosa is just. He's improved so damn much over the past few years, and I just don't think Dariush is on this level. Even though I think Dariush is a really good fighter, this is just comes down to styles, and I just don't think Dariush's style and game can beat Barbosa. So Barbosa for me here all day, and I'll be parlaying him with something.
Yeah, normally when you've got a guy that relies so much on leg kicks, like Barbosa, and he's facing a southpaw, that usually takes away some of the effectiveness of the leg kicks, but Barbosa just doesn't give a fuck. He's fought a couple southpaws before, and he'll still throw all those leg kicks, still just make you pay for trying to get in tight on him. And I think if this fight happened a couple years ago, like after the Michael Johnson fight, I might like Dariush because, I thought the book was kind of written on Barbosa that he really couldn't deal with somebody making him fight off his back foot. But he's looked a lot better in that position over his last few fights. And even throwing kicks, moving backwards, he still has the same sort of power and speed on them that he does when he's the one setting the pace. So I like Barbosa here. I think that he's going to break Dariush down. Not sure he's able to get the stoppage or anything like that, but I think it's going to be a decision for Barbosa. Another fun little striking battle, and I think Dariush, even though he should go for takedowns, I think he's confident enough in his striking, especially coming off of that Magomedov performance, that he's probably just going to keep this on the feet. So it should be a fun one.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I hope he does.
It's not, but I could see it happening. I could. Next up, light heavyweight division. Now we're getting there. Shogun taking on Gianni Vellante. Jay?
I got Shogun a C, John Vellante a D+. Vellante is a guy that really should be better than he is, but pretty much a mental midget, and gives fights away, in fights you should win. In terms of physical ability at this point, it's fairly close. Vellante is a pretty good athlete, but his chin is not great, and he keeps himself exposed, in his fights. Shogun, a shell of what he used to be, but man, he can still connect and finish, and I think that's what's going to happen here. Shogun's going to be able to knock out John Vellante, and that's going to be it. Vellante might be winning the bout until that point, but he's going to he's going to fall apart and he'll get KO'd by Shogun, maybe second round.
Sean?
You know what's the worst? When fighters get old and SureDog updates their pictures to what they look like recently. Shogun's just such a sad picture. That he never had a good body, but that's just all kinds of sad. Volante, yeah, he's nothing special. I mean, he struggled against Safarov before he was able to get him. I mean, Shogun seems like he's so done, but he's on a 2-fight winning streak. Look out. I'll pick Shogun, and hopefully he knocks him out, but I don't know. Maybe some prop will come out that's just way too big, and I'll play it, but I'm just passing on this shit show of a fight.
Fair enough. Wes, what you got?
Man, as a guy that watched Shogun, like the real Shogun, like back in the day, it's still kind of hard to watch this dude now. I want to say Shogun is going to catch him, but man, it's the same in reverse. If Volante catches Shogun with anything clean, it's over. Volante's still only 31. He's still strong as hell. He still hits like a truck. I think Volante knocks him out, man. I hate to say it. I hate to pick against Shogun, but yeah, I think Volante knocks him out. I'll probably look at Volante by KO or inside the dead. If it's a big price, I'll have to put something on it, but I'm going to have to pick Volante here.
You want to hear something that's going to make you real sad, Sean?
What?
The picture that SureDog has, that's from the fight with Henderson. The first one.
Oh, man.
It's not even that new.
It's not new. It's just sad.
I mean, he's got no knees, so like the cardio on the treadmill hasn't been there for years, you know?
Yeah. I looked it up. I saw HP Pavilion in the background. I was like, what the fuck was the last time he fought in San Jose? And yeah, it was Dan. It was, the fight that broke him, I think.
Yep.
As far as this fight goes, man, it's so weird because you think at this point Shogun's only way to win is to knock out his opponent early, but then his last two fights, he's won 2 decisions. Like, what the fuck's going on? I don't think he wins a decision against Volante. It is Brazil, so maybe he knocks him down in the last 10 seconds of a couple rounds and gets those rounds. But I think Volante doesn't deal well with being hurt, as much as Corey Anderson does, or some of the other guys that Shogun's fought recently. So if Shogun's able to get hands on him, I think he is going to put him out. It's so tough to bank on that at this point. I'm gonna side with the Shogun just for the fanboy and the nostalgia portion of it, but man, it's so impossible to be confident in this fight or in any of his fights at this point. So Shogun's the pick.
Shogun is 35 years old. Can you believe that?
In fight years, he's 74.
Yeah.
Man, you realize how good he was when he was like 19, 20 years old? Like, yep. Man.
Shogun would be a young man in the heavyweight division.
Yeah, no doubt he could be champ. 35 is young.
Oh man, it's crazy. But yeah, those old school shoot box guys, they peaked earlier than everybody else in MMA, just because they went so hard. So Shogun's the pick there for me. Hoping for a TKO. We'll see what the prop is, but maybe we'll get a bigger price based on him winning a decision the last couple times out. So maybe some actual value there. Main event time, middleweight division. We got Vitor, no longer TRT Tor, taking on Kelvin Gastelum, who's still doing the damn thing, even though he's carrying that extra tire wheel around. Jay?
I got Belfort B-, Kelvin Gastelum at B+. At this point in Vitor Belfort's career, it's hard to put your money on him, even as a significant dog here. He's tasked to face a fighter who's never been finished. Has a pretty decent all-around game. Fairly decent wrestler, but where he's at his best is with his hands and his striking. And since he's never really been, I think he got hurt in the Rick Story fight, but outside of that, he's, just proven very durable. That's basically the kryptonite for Vitor Belfort, because Belfort's at his best when he's able to hurt an opponent early and finish, and when he's not able to do that, he slows down really fast and just falls apart. So I think Gastelum wins the war of attrition, makes it to the second round, and then dominates. So Gastelum wins by mid-round finish, midway through the second, early third.
Sean?
Yeah, I agree with Jay. I think Gastelum's going to tune him up. When we keep breaking down Vitor fights lately, we keep saying the only chance he has is if he blitzes, and I believe that to be true. And he no longer blitzes, so he doesn't do anything in his fight other than get his ass kicked, and that's what Kevin Gastelum's gonna do. Gastelum looks so good. Well, looked pretty good early on against Kennedy. Kennedy was able to muscle him. I mean, that's the way it goes. Gastelum's a 170er, so that can always happen, but Vitor's not really going to do that, so I think the speed difference is going to be big, and Gastelum can probably even wrestle Vitor. He can probably ground and pound him. I think this is going to be another bad night for Vitor. Maybe Jesus will be like, come on, Vitor, now it's time to retire. I know he hasn't talked to Nate Marquardt yet, but maybe he'll talk to Vitor. I got Gastelum at minus 260 inside the distance, and I parlayed that with Barboza. That's went up quite a bit now. It's like minus 350, so it's getting a little high, but I think he gets Vitor in the second.
That's fair. Wes?
Yeah, I said the same thing in that first round of the Tim Kennedy fight, that guys up at that weight we're gonna give Gastelum problems just by the sheer size difference, but Vitor's not that guy. That's just not how he fights. And Vitor's a quitter now. I mean, if Vitor literally doesn't knock you out with the first couple punches, he quits. He's done. Gastelum's going to end this whenever he wants. Gastelum inside the distance.
Yeah, I think without that blitz, and he just doesn't have it physically anymore, Vitor, he's lost out there. I think it's going to be a repeat, probably more of the Jacare fight than of the Mousasi fight, because Gastelum's not really the guy to slowly pick you apart. He's really going to get after you. So I think the finish could come in the first round here. Might hold off and see what the TKO prop is instead of that minus 350 inside the distance prop, because I think that Vitor's still aware enough that he doesn't get submitted, but he wants to quit enough so that he doesn't get out of those bad spots where guys punch him. So I think it's going to be another TKO on the ground, and it's going to be all she wrote for Vitor. And hopefully, I think at this point, it should be the last time for him. I know we've said that for a while now. The Weidman one should have been last, and then he ended up beating Dan, and we're like, go out on the high note, and then he got smashed twice in a row, and
he's back for more.
He's probably still on one of them older Zuffa contracts to where he's getting $200,000 or $300,000 to fight and just can't stop.
Can't stop.
You gotta finish out that contract.
Well, I know when they're in Brazil too, they pay these guys differently than they do when they're in the U.S. So for the Weidman fight when he fought for the title, I know that he made like $300,000 and
7 cows.
Yeah, exactly. And all the times he's fought in Brazil, they've only paid disclosed $50,000, and then I'm sure they tack a shitload more on.
There's some Brazilian tax shit down there or something.
Exactly. So I'm sure he's making a good buck because people are coming to see him for this card.
He's still got a name for sure, no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Exactly. They're not going to be happy, but I don't think they have any illusions at this point that Vitor's still a top fighter. So, they'll come for Vitor and Shogun. If one of the two wins, the Brazilian fans will go home happy. But I think for them, it's going to have to be Shogun because
Vitor Shogun and co-main like 5 years ago was one of the biggest cards you do. Pretty incredible where we are 5 years later.
They should just put Vitor back on some juice and have him go up to
let him go
205 and face Shogun.
Let him Barry Bonds it.
You're popping guys like Rothwell that's got man titties and shit. Like, let these dudes do what they want to do. Fuck.
Those are nice
Free the
titties.
steroids.
Free steroids.
Let them juice. But that is going to do it for this week's edition of the MMA Analysis Podcast. It was good to be back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. And we'll hopefully see you next week.